Gunpla. Let's face it, it's the greatest hobby of all time, building small-scale giant bipedal war machines of mass destruction. Every year I count down the best of Bandai's offerings, and this year is no different. Welcome to Mecha Gaikotsu's Top 10 Best Gundam Kits of 2022. Punching its way into the bottom position of this list is the high-grade Choo-Choo's Demi-Trainer from the new Mobile Suit Gundam anime The Witch from Mercury. Deceptively simple and devilishly fun to build, the Demi-Trainer packs in a lot more features than you'd expect from a high-grade grunt suit. The Demi-Trainer comes in two different forms, the standard Demi-Trainer which released in December at $10, and Choo-Choo's custom Demi-Trainer which released in November at $12. For me, the Choo-Choo's kit is the superior kit out of the two. The standard Demi-Trainer is a fantastic grunt kit definitely, with some great customizability when paired with the sold separately option set, but Choo-Choo's custom comes with a lot more inside of the box and some unique aspects and more detail to its armor. When it comes to the build, this kit is a surprisingly well-designed model considering how basic a robot it is in universe. It's a simple build but with some great articulation and moving parts. Visually, this kit is incredibly impressive. We've got a lot of nice technical detail including defensive bars all over the unit, a blacklight reactive lens in the head, and one of my favorite model kit aesthetic features, part layering, which allows colored parts from the lower layers of plastic which are in a different color through to the surface. Basically like what you can see right there on the Vulcans in the head sections and on the chest. It adds a lot of nice detail and depth. In a series with some incredibly over-the-top designs, this is a mech that serves up some militaristic, clunky, real robot realness. So if you want something a little bit more down-to-earth, or Earth House, this is what you're looking for. Accessories-wise, the Demi-Trainer comes with Choo-Choo's signature large beam rifle and a pair of alternate widespread hands, and speaking of which, these are unique. It's not that often you see a Gundam model kit with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle hands. That's 2 fingers, 1 thumb, nice and thick, looks cool. The large beam rifle looks very nice. It's made out of a whole bunch of modular parts, making it compatible with the Demi-Trainer option set. This weapon mounts into the waist unit on an articulated arm and into the backpack using a posable wire. Everything moves around well, and this combined with the well-designed articulation of the mecha itself makes sure that you can pose this awesome weapon both simply and effectively. Finally, the articulation here is great. The only real limited joint here is the ankles, which in a way you could consider lore accurate. The overall articulation is fantastic and the final out-of-box build strength is perfect, featuring a full plastic-on-plastic build with no polycaps. Just like the rest of the, that doesn't roll off the tongue too much, HGTWFM line of model kits. Honestly, this kit has way more articulation than it has any right to have. It's an absolute posing machine with some cool features like a locking extra ab crunch down there inside of the waist, fully articulated leg thrusters, and I shit you not, it actually has a neck. I did not expect the Demi-Trainer to have an actual looking up, down, side-to-side neck, so that was a nice surprise. On the whole, this is an absolutely stellar feature-packed kit, which is impressive for something like the Demi-Trainer. And honestly, if you love the real robot vibe, this is the best you're gonna get this year, and this is the one for you, because the rest of this list is gonna get a lot more colorful. Dropping into the 9th position like a meteor is the high-grade After Colony Shenlong Gundam from new mobile report Gundam Wing. And this one took me entirely by surprise. I thought this would be exactly the same as what we saw with the rest of the high-grade squad, but that is not the case. Bandai gave Wufei an upgrade. The HG Shenlong came out in September costing around $13. Aesthetically, the high-grade Shenlong has raised the bar compared to the HG wing kits that came before, but it still does come with one out-of-box issue that is worth mentioning. The metallic green domes on the shoulders are not color accurate out of box, and do require some stickers that are hard to attach nicely. That or you're going to have to paint them. But besides that, this kit looks and is incredible. Improved plastic quality over the previous releases, great detail, awesome vivid colors, and color separation besides those shoulder gems. This high grade right here is an absolute looker, and does the Shenlong justice. Included with the Shenlong is the beam glaive, shield, extension parts for the Dragon Fang, and the same roster of hands we would have gotten with the high-grade wing line so far, so that does mean that this kit is fully compatible with the rest of the range, which is always a cool extra. The beam glaive does what it needs to do, that's a shaft and a green effect part. This can be held in the hands or stored in the backpack. The Shenlong shield looks beautiful with great part separation and attaches securely onto the forearm. But the real star of the show here is the Dragon Fang, which Bandai have executed perfectly. It can seamlessly fold out of the shoulder to a long superposable form without the need to add or remove parts. But if you do want the full over-the-top length of this absolute savage weapon, then you will need to add in these grey parts, but it is super worth it. This is without a doubt one of the craziest Gundam weapons around. And honestly, one of my personal favorites. Articulation-wise, this kit is par for the course for this line as it does share the exact same joints we would have seen with the Depth Side, Heavy Arms, and the Sandrock. The knee bend is a little bit limited, but for the most part this kit is not too bad with good articulation overall. You'll get some great poses, nothing super extreme, but you will definitely get everything that you would have seen in the show, which is the most important thing. So yeah, Wu Fei may have had to wait the longest for his high-grade release, but it was definitely worth the wait. It is the king of the high-grade wing kits. And honestly, this kit is worth it alone for that savage Dragon Fang. If you can say one thing about The Witch from Mercury, it's that it's an absolute buffet of mecha designs. Each corporation in the show features mobile suits designed by different mechanical designers with completely different art and design styles, leading to a literal smorgasbord of unique and equally over-the-top robots. And none is more unique and over-the-top than Gundam Feract. Designed by Wataru Inata, who is known for his works in Armored Core 4 and Armored Core 4 Answer, which definitely shows in the Feract. The Gundam Feract released in December, retailing at $16. Aesthetically, this is an incredibly unique model kit that looks like the unholy union of a Zeta Gundam design and an Armored Core mecha. Great color separation, some nice clear parts with optional stickers to replicate the shell units, and a backpack unit that makes the area look like an Ad Stella version of the Gundam 00. The quality of the build and the detail is top notch with some stellar design in the backpack boosters and the various leg and arm gimmicks. The accessories included in the box are the Beam Arquebus sniper rifle, a pair of beam sabers, and one alternative widespread left hand. The Beam Arquebus is a relatively simple weapon with no moving gimmicks or parts, but it's how it interacts with the Feract itself that makes it so special. The shoulders feature some great extra joints in the sides of the torso, which really allow the mobile suit to sit naturally in nice aiming poses. The beam sabers for the most part do exactly what beam sabers tend to do. The beams are in that nice green plastic that reacts to UV light, but what makes these super cool is the way they can be stored in opening compartments built into the forearms. Too bad the kit can't bend its hand back and grab the beam saber, just like we would have seen in the show. Bit of a bummer. Finally, onto the articulation, and just like the rest of the Witch from Mercury line, this is a solid plastic on plastic build, and the only real weak joints in here are the C-clips on the feet, so you may have some, but not many, issues with standing poses. The overall articulation is spectacular, but the legs and the backpack really steal the show, pumping in so many moving and sliding gimmicks that makes them incredibly impressive. This really is a kit right here that combines crazy articulation with a crazy design, resulting in some equally crazy and spectacular aerial poses. If you like your model kits with that unbeatable Bandai quality with a bit of an Armored Core insectoid flair, then the Gundam Feract, that's the one for you. High Resolution Model, or as it's known for short. Half model kit, half action figure, all Gundam. With 3 years since the last high-res kit, 2019's God Gundam, it did kind of seem like this line of kits was all but dead. That is until Bandai exhumed its corpse, slapped on some gigantic mechanical arms on it, like some kind of mecha Frankenstein's monster. Technically a re-release of 2018's high-res Gundam Astray Red frame, the high-res Powered Red still held up in 2022, mainly because the kit it's based on, the original Red frame, was one hell of a kit, debatably the best of the line. And yeah, now it has absolutely massive arms. The high-res Gundam Astray Red Frame Powered Red released in March at a spicy $123, making it the most expensive kit in the list. So first off, I will mention when it comes to Gunpla, the high-res kits are a bit weird. At their core, they're a made-in-China action figure, and then you build on the armor model kit style, and those model kit parts are made in Japan. This means that sometimes these parts don't always get along so well, so a couple of the earlier releases were essentially primed plastic hand grenades waiting to explode into a shower of tears and Gundam parts. On top of that, some of the plastic, especially the pure white, is made out of a very shiny plastic that's very brittle and prone to snapping, but somehow, every single version of the high-res Astray has avoided these Herm curses, and the final build is always an absolute Mr. Universe unit of a finished kit. Aesthetically, this kit looks phenomenal, and honestly, it's absolutely ridiculous looking with those huge ass arms. In the best possible way, I mean. Never for a single minute would I have thought that Bandai would have ever actually made a model kit of the Powered Red, considering just how over the top a design it is. But man, they really went to town on this. Perfect grade style postable hands, dual color separation on a lot of the colors, complex patterning molded into some of the armor surfaces, painted gold parts, and a multitude of different finishes and textures on all of the colors. There are some stickers included which are kinda trash, but it is a stunner regardless. As for the accessories included here in the box, the Powered Red is completely close quarters focused with the Gerberus straight katana, scabbard, and a pair of beam sabers. The beam sabers are nice with some fairly vigorous effect parts. They attach in perfectly and look comically small in those hands, and when not in use, they can be stored round back on the backpack. The katana is the same as what we would have seen with the 2018 version, with that beautifully chromed out blade. It can be stored in the scabbard, and that scabbard can swing around from behind the shoulder on an articulated arm. When it comes to the articulation and the posability of this kit, it has a great center of balance due to some nice metal parts in the lower legs that nicely outweigh the giant arms. So that does mean it can pull off some dynamic poses without falling over due to the giant arms. Everything but the arms has the exact same impressive articulation that we would have seen with the 2018 standard version of the high-res Astray, but those arms bring a whole new level of posing excellence. Moving parts, some minor transforming gimmicks, bulging biceps, and fully 100% posable hands. What more could you want? If you're looking for a Gundam kit that blurs the lines between real robot and super robot, and a kit that, looks like nothing else with a healthy dose of absolute over-the-top posing, then the high-res Powered Red is for you. If there's one thing you can say about 2022's Gunpla, it's that Bandai took all subtlety and just flung it right out of the window. Guel's Darrelbald from The Witch from Mercury is a mobile suit that would make Shar Aznable himself weep tears of jealousy. With the Pharact, we got a dose of armored core mechanical designer, but when it comes to the Jiturk designs, these are helmed by the over-the-top Ipe Gyobyu, known for extremely graphic designs with piercing, contrasting color combinations. And in Season 1, for me, that peaked with the intensely beautiful HG Darrelbald. This kit released in December at $16. Visually, this mech is a stunner. Hot burning red on black complemented by some nice clear parts and a choice of metallic stickers to replicate the shell units. Sadly, one sticker is for using right smack in the middle of the face, but I will also mention that we do have a color separated yellow section underneath this, molded in yellow plastic, but there is nothing to replicate the green. Aesthetically, I could gush about this kit all day. It's my favorite non-Gundam suit from The Witch from Mercury yet. Great proportions, striking looks and colors, and that Ipe Gyobyu over-the-top flair. When it comes to the model kit, this stands almost a head above the Ariel, so the Darrelbald is a fairly sizable high grade. And speaking of that head, it gives me major, massive Eva Unit 1 vibes. This is a kit that comes with quite the spread of accessories, including the javelin, beam blades, alternate forearms, wires for using with the feet, shoulder shields, and one alternate widespread left hand. This kit features a slew of weapons and equipment that can split apart from themselves and the mecha for an all-out multi-directional assault. First up, we have the beam javelin. It can split into two smaller weapons, the effects glow under UV light, and this thing looks huge and powerful in the hand. And speaking of hands, this kit has two different forearm modes. weapon-holding forearms, and a pair of forearms with beams for hands, both of which can detach from the body and fly around on action bases. The Ambika shoulder shields do the exact same thing. They can be attached onto the shoulders, giving this mobile suit some awesome extra bulk, or fly around once again as remote weapons. Hell, even this kit's feet can detach and fly around as shackle claws, which once again can be displayed on action bases with 2 posable wires included. Once again, the Dial Bolt is an absolutely solid Witch from Mercury release with very nice articulation. There is an almost bit of Delanza style bulk to the front skirting and one limitation to the toe, but besides that you'll get some extremely nice poses out of it. The plastic on plastic joints don't budge an inch once posed, and this thing's extremely nice proportions mixed with a striking color scheme, nice articulation and variable array of weapons results in some absolutely spectacular dynamic poses. So if you're the type that loves over-the-top stylish mecha and love to just constantly repose a kit with its equipment and weaponry rearranged and rearmed, then this is the kit for you. Jumping from a jeep and fist fighting in the grass of the 5th position is the entry-grade new Gundam from the classic Gundam movie, Char's Counterattack. Continuing on the new budget-friendly yet awesome entry-grade line, the new Gundam is the biggest release yet. The entry-grade new Gundam released in April at just over $8. First off, in case you're not quite sure what an entry grade is, they're kits that inhabit the exact same vein as high grade, standing at the exact same size and scale, while simultaneously being simpler yet better than high grades in a lot of ways. It's Gunpla distilled down to its elements and designed for full color accuracy in plastic while having the fewest amount of parts in the build as possible. Now don't be fooled by that entry grade moniker and assume that these kits are just for beginners, because this is one hell of a model kit. The builds might be simple, but they're incredibly well designed. When it comes to the looks, this is no cutie real grade derived design like that life-size statue in Japan. This is the badass, rugged, powerful design that looks like it walked right out of the 80s movie. The proportions are both nicely elongated in the legs and lower body and powerful looking in the upper half. The color separation here is insane, including fully separated yellow on that crotch V. That's quite rare, but these kits do it every time. One of the coolest features of these builds is the lack of black plastic or stickers in the eyes. The black that you actually see underneath the eyes is created with light and shadow to an absolutely powerful effect. Accessories wise, this is definitely a stripped down affair, just a beam saber handle, beam rifle, and shield. So if you do want the rest of the news equipment, including a beam for the beam saber and the iconic Gundam fin funnel wing, then you do need to go out and buy the high grade kit. The actual full high grade kit, which is a bit of an absurd concept. The shield and the rifle do what they should and look impressive, and nice stickers included from the shield as well. And I will also mention that even though this is an entry grade kit, it is 100% completely compatible with the high grade 2-peg backpack system. Considering the price point, the articulation in here is quite good. It's not going to do yoga or pull off intense over-the-top action poses, but it will do all of the basics perfectly and looks great in every single pose. But I will mention be gentle, as the plastic in entry grade kits is known to be quite delicate. Entry grade just keeps on evolving and getting better and better with every single release, and that goes double for the new. The combination of insane quality, super low price point, and the large size of the new Gundam itself makes this kit perfect for a straight build, or even better for cheap, custom Gunpla fodder. When the brand new flagship Gundam is slumming it in the 4th position, you just know that there are some real bangers in the list this year. Don't get me wrong, even though the high-grade Ariel from The Witch from Mercury is unleashing the gun format at the number 4 spot, that's not a reflection on the Ariel kit itself. No, that just goes to show just how good the top 3 is this year. The Ariel is an absolutely killer kit at an absolutely killer price. Releasing in October at just over $10, this is an absolute steal, if you can manage to find one. The HG Ariel is absolutely gorgeous. It's the original Granddaddy redesigned once again for a brand new universe and a brand new generation. Build-wise, this kit is incredibly impressive. The mobile suit itself builds up in a ridiculously impressive way, combining the layering of plastic colors, molded armor layers, clear parts, a tasteful use of stickers, and a jaw-droppingly gorgeous pre-molded shell unit for the upper chest. This kit looks fantastic as a straight out-of-box build, but it's also a panel liner's dream due to the complex design of the armor. This kit does have a couple of visual aspects that do keep it from being entirely perfect, like some hollow parts here and there, and color inaccurate vents on the feet. Besides that though, this is one of the most stunning high grades I have ever seen. Bandai has gotten better and better with the way it's managing to get so much detail into a kit with relatively few parts, and Bandai has actually scrapped what has kind of been a little bit of a long-standing tradition with Gundam model kits, or Gundam designs in general, and that is having pretty much just a cube for the chest. There's just so much going on with the aerial. Included inside the box with the aerial is the usual Gundam loadout of swords, board, and beam rifle with some nice new gimmicks for the new generation of Gundam. But its biggest letdown is the fact that the expressive open hands are sold separately with the backpack. Once again, it's not too much to complain about considering the killer price point of the aerial kit. The beam sabers are pretty basic. It's a little bit of a letdown that the beams are flat out the wrong color. They should be green, not blue. The beam rifle features a unique geometric design, can be held in the hand, stored around back, or used as a melee weapon by attaching some nice, vigorous effect parts. Aerial's escutcheon features some incredible detail for a high-grade kit, allowing it to be used as a shield, break up into the separate gunned bits, and replicate Aerial's bit-on form by attaching the bit staves to the mobile suit and rifle, but I will mention this does require a couple of stickers and an adapter to hold it together. When it comes to the articulation, Aerial is a damn good poser. It is a little bit limited in the upper legs, but you will get some incredible poses out of it, but not quite as good as a certain Gundam that came out before it. Once again, we've got a great plastic on plastic build which keeps this kit solid as a rock, and honestly this is a fantastic kit for both new and veteran builders at an absolutely undeniably killer price. As of right now, there's no line of Gunpla that has been consistently releasing banger after banger after banger quite like Real Grade. Every year I make these lists, the top 5 is always littered with orgies. They took the number 1 spot in 2018, 2019, and 2021, only denied in 2020 due to the release of the over-the-top Perfect Grade Unleashed Oryx 78-2 and the Master Grade Extreme Unicorn, but otherwise they would have taken it again. The Real Grade God Gundam released in August at $30. 2021's Real Grade High New Gundam to me was the de facto best Gunpla of all time, and comparing this to that is a little on the unfair side due to the massive size difference between the two. But it is the amount of crazy detail that Bandai packs into every square millimeter of one of these palm-sized titans that makes them so impressive, and the God Gundam really excels here, even blowing the much larger and much more expensive high-res God Gundam out of the water when it comes to detail. On top of that, we've got plenty of moving gimmicks in the armor, exposing even more detail. So much is crammed into such a tiny, beautiful package. Included in the box is a complete array of various posed hands, 2 beam katanas, and some large effect rings. First up, the hands look incredible and include some burning red Godfinger hands. Second up, we've got the effect rings you can replicate God Gundam's hyper mode with by pairing them with the opening chest, shoulder, and leg hatches for some over-the-top G Gundam poses. The beam katanas do pretty much what beam sabers do, but honestly, what can you say? They're beam katanas. That's awesome. Articulation-wise, this thing is insane. This is what you get the Real Grade God Gundam for. First off, I will mention that the arms can feel a little on the delicate side. This is because Bandai seems to feel the need to keep the old Real Grade MS joint system somewhat relevant despite its floppy flaws. So first off, in case you don't know what that is, every single Real Grade kit has the MS joint system. It used to be a fully pre-molded on the runner frame that these kits you would then, well, build around. This over time got really floppy inside of the kit because of its kind of rubbery nature, which led to what I call early Real Grade syndrome, which is where your Real Grades get super floppy the more and more you move them. Recent kits have done away with this and keep them in some aspects, usually some side aspects like fin funnels, etc., but the God Gundam here has it in its arms. So yeah, MS joint in the forearms means they can be a little bit loose, but not problematically loose, thankfully. Besides that though, the posability of this kit is absolutely off the charts. Whatever kind of pose you can think of, no matter how over the top, dynamic, crazy, whatever, the God Gundam will pull it off with style. I mean, if you love tons and tons and tons of joints to just eke out the perfect, crazy poses that you want, you will absolutely love this. It also has a design to all of the joints that keeps it somewhat humanoid, which makes sense considering the way the Gundams are piloted in universe. So if you're looking for a small scale kit that has the absolute maximum posability, then you want yourself the real grade God Gundam.
Gundam Rubris. Gundam Rubris. Gundam Rubris.
Rubris. The romanizing of its name to this right here, Lefrit or whatever you like to call it, is an absolute mystery. But the quality of this kit isn't. The high-grade Gundam Rubris from The Witch from Mercury, in my humble opinion, was the finest high-grade release of the year, even outdoing its upgrade, or sister, or whatever the hell the Ariel is to this particular Gundam. Now don't get me wrong, it's not worlds better than the Ariel, just some better design decisions were made with this kit because they're both phenomenal kits, but I feel the Rubris beats out the Ariel. The high-grade Gundam Rubris was released in August at just over $13, so not getting that main Gundam discount that the Ariel got. Once again, the build here is simple enough for beginners, but detailed enough to entertain veteran builders. The typical Witch from Mercury plastic on plastic rock solid build is here. We've got minimally, tastefully used stickers, and once again, just like with the Ariel, we've got a pre-molded shell unit, this time huge and beautiful, right across the top of the chest. Aesthetically, this kit looks barely like a Gundam at all, and it's all the better for it, rocking the Gundam Ariel overall vibe, but in hot pink with bunny ears. The proportions here are ridiculous. Massive shoulders, tiny waist, large legs. The fact that the torso looks like a head, Gurren Lagann style, this kit is an absolute definite eye-catcher. Rubris's accessories are pretty similar to what we would have seen with the Ariel, including the usual swords, board, and beam rifle. The beam receiver is one unique-looking beam rifle which can be used as a close-quarters weapon, once again by attaching a beam effect part to replicate the beam-on mode. The beam sabers are usual enough, can be mounted on the backpack when not in use, but the main event in this kit is the Gund-Bit shield. Once again, just like the Ariel, it can be attached onto the forearm, normal shield style, can be split up into the bit staves, or attach onto the mecha backpack and the rifle to display Rubris in its bit-on form. Finally, when it comes to the articulation, this kit kills it. Once again, that plastic-on-plastic design means it's rock solid, and due to some better design decisions in the legs, this is a kit that can outpose Ariel. That mixed with its outrageous proportions and its outrageous colors results in some really striking poses that look insane from every angle. So yeah, once again, this is incredibly similar to the high-grade Ariel, but at the same time very different. And well, what makes it better? Basically, it's got some better articulation in the upper legs, a shield that can separate it into the gun bits without an adapter, and well, it's fucking pink and has bunny ears. Year after year, I keep calling kit after kit the best Gunpla ever. And you guys remind me of it all the time. But this really does go to show just how Bandai keep pushing the envelope when it comes to mecha model kit design. There was quite a few years during the 2010s where Gunpla was starting to feel a bit samey. High grades all felt the same, master grades all felt the same, and real grades all felt the same. There was somewhat of a comfort to the predictability. You always knew what you were going to get just from the grade label on the box. But not anymore, and with the Master Grade Extreme Strike Freedom Gundam, Bandai has once again redefined the Gundam model kit. The Master Grade Strike Freedom Gundam released in November at a wallet-culling $120 or so. So yeah, if you're on a bit of a tight budget, you might want to rewind back to number 2. But yeah, $120 isn't really all that bad compared to the first Master Grade Extreme, which was 2020's Unicorn Gundam that cost almost $200. Now, comparatively speaking, these are two completely different beasts. The Unicorn has an absolute arsenal of weapons, a full mobile suit cage, and a full set of color-changing LEDs that would make the perfect grade Unicorn blush. Then why do I prefer the Strike Freedom? Put simply, it's just the perfect mecha model kit. Bandai really is flexing when it comes to every single aspect of this mecha. This is a kit that is more comparable to the Perfect Grade Unleashed Oryx 78-2 than the Master Grade Extreme Unicorn. First off, the extreme point with this kit, the aspect that makes it a Master Grade Extreme, is the gold. For the most part, this is just gold paint in gold colored plastic, which really doesn't sound that impressive on paper. But it's not actually the gold itself that's impressive, it's the level of sheer detail put into that inner frame. Just like we would have seen with the Perfect Grade Extreme, this is a kit that features a multi-step build. Step 1 is the absolutely stunning inner frame. It builds up with multiple layers of gold, and also includes some unique additions like metal etched parts and 3D plastic stickers. Once again, like the Perfect Grade Unleashed. Step 2 is building the huge set of wings and the 8 dragoons. Step 3 is the armor, and I have to say it's almost a shame to cover up that gorgeous frame, but the finished armored build is equally as jaw-dropping. The last step then, step 4, is to build the weapons. Now I have to say, I built a lot of kits, and there's not many kits out there that I would recommend just on the build experience alone, but this right here is about as fun as a mecha model kit build could possibly be. When it comes to the looks of this kit, this is most definitely not the Strike Freedom Gundam that you would have seen in the anime. The Master Grade Extreme has been given a visual overhaul compared to what you would have seen on screen. This kit is a stunner. Absolutely every element you would have built into the inner frame, into the wings, armored up, and weaponized onto this kit shows. It's layer upon layer upon layer, texture upon texture upon texture, different plastic finishes, actual metal etched parts, really cool stickers, and the overall design is mesmerizing. This is probably the best looking model kit I have ever laid my eyes on, period. Accessories wise, we've got the usual Gundam loadout, doubled over, a healthy bunch of alternate hands, action-based water slide decals, runner stand, and that's not even including the 8 dragoons round back on the wings. When it comes to the array of hands in here, for the most part they're all pretty normal, but we do get a set of those fully articulated hands, which is a very nice addition, especially when they're not essential to holding things. That does mean you can pose every single aspect of every digit on all of the fingers on this kit to really put those end touches on over-the-top poses. The beam sabers are normal enough, they can combine together. The beam rifles are very nice, these can also combine together. A full action base is included, which is always a very nice addition, especially when you're rocking a wingspan like the Strike Freedom. However, it would have been nice to have some stands included to display the dragoons in flight. But if you're a scrappy enough builder, you should be able to cobble something together that'll do the job. Articulation wise, this kit is a beast. According to Bandai themselves, this is the kit with the most number of frame-linked gimmicks in Master Grade history, aka parts that move in tandem when you're posing the kit. Bend the arms, something else is moving. Bend the legs, the knee will move, the upper thigh armor will move. Move the head, some parts of the neck will move, and it all just chains together to make sure this kit looks natural and astounding from every angle. There is just so much going on here, it's joints on joints on joints. Combined with the gorgeous over-the-top aesthetics and those huge expressive wings, this is a kit that will just blow your mind. Once again, in 2022, Bandai have outdid themselves. This is the ultimate Gunpla experience. This is the ultimate Gundam kit. I just have one recommendation when it comes to the Master Grade Extreme Strike Freedom, and that is do not build it as your first ever Gundam model kit. Not because it's expensive, not because it's intricate, not because it's difficult. No, because every other Gundam kit out there will just feel like a downgrade and you'll be chasing this dragon forever. Well, unless Bandai outdoes themselves again in 2023, and here's hoping that they do. So anyway, that right there is it for the list. A little bit of a mixed year for Gunpla. We had a lot of months where nothing came out at all. We got some absolutely crazy kits, and the supply once again has been a little bit rough. Kits come out, hard to get. Hopefully Bandai will rectify it sometime this year. Anyway, as usual, when it does come to one of these videos, make sure to drop your top 10 lists that you built this year down there in the comments. Doesn't matter if they came out this year or not, just let everyone know what kits did you build and what kits you loved so they can try them out for themselves. As for 2023, there's gonna be a few changes here on the channel because I finally escaped that cracked den of an apartment I lived in for the past 5 years. Basically there I could do nothing. I couldn't paint the place, I couldn't move the furniture, it was an absolute shithole. It vibrated for, 16 hours of every day, so I could barely record. And the worst part is, it was carpeted everywhere, so I couldn't do any painting, couldn't do any customs. That is finally over. Now I have my own brand new review space, which is a bit of a work in progress, and I actually have a garage too to finally start getting into some insane Gunpla based projects. Also a work in progress. Work not started, more like. So yeah, getting this place up to spec is going to be my next push goal for the channel. It's also going to be my next push goal on Patreon. So if you do want to help out, I will throw a link to Patreon down there in the description, and a renewal for that Patreon is way past due. And I'll also mention, seeing as I'm balls deep in DIY at the moment, I'm not going to get around to doing a P-Bandai related video for this year. So that means no top 10 P-Bandai as a standalone video, so I'm just gonna drop the TLDR right now. The high-grade Lord Astray. Basically, it's an Astray with all the cool factor dialed to 11. It's got an absolutely massive V-fin and an absolutely massive sword. It's a fairly standardish kit, nothing really cool when it comes to features, but that big old sword. At number 9, it's the Master Grade X Impulse. So this right here is basically the Master Grade Impulse Gundam with a bit of a new veneer with Naoki's signature squared off awesome style with those awesome high heels too. This is a brand new backpack too, and I absolutely love this Master Grade, highly recommend it. Number 8. The Master Grade Jin Gladiator. Do you love Gundam Seed grunts, especially when they're Master Grades? Do you love them if they've got a Gladiator style aesthetic thrown over them? Then you might just like the Master Grade Jin Gladiator. It's exactly the same as the standard Jin, just with some new weapons and a new lick of paint, or plastic color I should say. Number 7, the High Grade Hazel with the gigantic arms. It's the regular high-grade Hazel from Advance of Zeta, but it's got gigantic Psycho Gundam arms. And they're not the arms of the high-grade Psycho Gundam, these are brand new Psycho Gundam arms which kick Rs. Or should I say punch Rs? This kit punches Rs. Number 6, the Master Grade Astrea. So the Astrea is basically like a precursor to the Exia that somehow looks debatably even cooler, especially when in red. This is a kit with, well, it's the regular Master Grade Exia with some new color and a whole bunch of weapons. So the Exia issues are there to a degree, but you get such a spread of weapons, and there's also the sold separately Avalanche unit that makes this into one of the craziest Gunpla displays around, especially if you go for Master Grade. It's a cool kit, lots of weapons. Number 5, the Ass Scrapulus. Scrape that ass. It's a white Gundam that is basically a variant of the Gundam I can't remember the name of, that is the main Gundam from the spin-off Wing manga. It turns into a Zigok style mobile armor that's in purple. It's just a cool kit. If you like high grades, they're weird. If you love G-Unit, and I don't mean 50 Cent, then you want that kit. Number 4, Gundam the Origin, the Kukuru's Doa's Island one. So yeah, it's basically the same as the high-grade The Origin kit, but with different decals as far as I know. Probably better off just going out and getting the high-grade The Origin because it's a brilliant kit. But if you're like me and you just like collecting way more stuff than you probably ever should, and you just like exclusives, and you love The Origin, get it! Number 3. The Reborn, it's not Reborn 100, is it? Full Mechanics, yeah, it's Full Mechanics. Ale Calamity Gundam. It's just like the absolutely ridiculously awesome Full Mechanics Calamity Gundam, but in a brand new blue color scheme. The weapons in here are cool, the backpack here is cool, and if you love Gundam Seed, I highly recommend it. When it comes to Full Mechanics kits, these are the best of the best Full Mechanics, these Seeds ones. I'm really tired now, my voice is going after all of this. It's a good kit. If you like Seed, you'll like it. Number 2, the Gundam Lindworm. Once again, another Naoki design as far as I know. Yes, it is. It's also from Genius Headline. It's It's an absolutely killer design, and I was actually shocked when it was based on it's not a full mechanics this time, Reborn 100. That's a very touch and go line, usually touch or is it go, whichever one is the bad one. But there are some gems in there, and the Reborn 100 bow that this is actually based on is one of the gems. This is an absolutely killer looking Gundam. It's got a really cool Zeta Gundam style, it stands very tall, and it has a lot of surface detail, and in the end is one impressive kit. I highly recommend it. I love it. And number one in my number one premium Bandai kit of the year, and this isn't really fair, is the Perfect Grade Unicorn Gundam Perfectibility. Now this is a whole different caliber of kit compared to anything else on the list. All the rest are fairly standard Gunpla. This right here is essentially an event kit, as in something that's ridiculously over the top. This will fill almost an entire shelf on its own. It's the standard Unicorn Gundam Perfect Grade, but it's blue on white with massive angel wings, and it's absolutely ridiculous looking. You can buy an optional set to expand this even further, but I never got that. It will add more bulk round back, like we would have seen with the full armor Unicorn Gundam, and like I said, this is a completely different caliber of kit to the rest on the list, so it kind of wins just because it's a big, old, expensive piece of awesomeness. Anyways, always thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back again in 2023, which is now, for more Gunpla reviews, and I will be seeing you next time.